Hi guys, Mr. Jaeger here. A bit of a quick update. I say quick. It's the update for June, I realise, and it's 7 days technically early. But I wanted to get this up and done because later on this week I've got a lot of things that are going to be happening. So basically, what I want to talk about is the future of the channel in a more serious tone, and also a lighter-hearted note thing. Also, quick talk about the stream. I did initially do a restream on Monday, which is why I didn't do anything normal until I didn't get anything uploaded until like later in the evening. But I don't think I'll be able to continue doing restream because I've been sort of noting about the way I do my streams, and a lot of my streams features potentially copyrightable music. And rather than risk getting my channel fucked by the stupid YouTube censors, I probably will only be able to do it on Twitch. So if you want to see more of me on Twitch and live streaming and doing other games, because I don't just do the games I do on this channel, I actually do other games on Twitch, which will be still doing the same sort of thing, you know, the whole 10 p.m. tonight, 10 p.m. GMT to midnight GMT, or 0000, midnight GMT, or 2200 hours GMT to 0 hours GMT. So I will be doing that late, as I said, this evening. So feel free to come, please do come and check it out on that one. And then yeah, hope to see you there, guys, on that one. That's awesome. Okay, so going on to the actual news segment. Basically, future of the channel. Family is wanting to move from where we are living. I won't go into major details about things because obviously privacy and all that. But basically, what's going on is the family. I'll just say the family. They've sort of the thing is, the family where we're living at the moment have often talked about moving and wanted to move, and then to a degree, on certain occasions, they actually did get the fucking moving, where they were like, they put the house on for sale, and like they were trying to debate about something, and but then most of the time, touch wood, they would attempt to. Oh, by the way, I've got the cold, so if you hear my voice all raspy or if I occasionally cough or splutter, that's why. So basically, the family are, because the thing is, we used to live in Cornwall. I live in Kent at the moment, like southeastern part, and basically, Kent is my home ground. Like, Kent is where I live. Like, it was where I was born, and I have obviously a certain affinity with Kent. And we moved up about 4 years ago, nearly 4 years ago now, to take care of other family members. And also to kind of reintroduce ourselves to the rest of the family, because obviously most of the family are up here. So that's another reason why I like being here. And we came from Cornwall, but we moved. I used to live in Kent, and then we moved down to Cornwall in like '07, and then we came back up to Kent in 2014. And I've for the last few years I've been working obviously, and doing YouTube, and it's been a lot of fun. I've also done reenactment as well, and it's been a blast. And I do enjoy living here. It is something that I personally find to be very enjoyable to do. But again, in the past as well, the family has sort of wanted to move, and they've talked about, as I said, they talked about moving, and then they put the house on the market, and it was looking fairly risky, and I was going to potentially, I think I might have even mentioned it on a certain channel update, but then they kind of dropped it, and they said, you know what, it's not looking very viable for us to move, and we're just going to basically, we're off the hook now. And I'm like, okay. And we even had a little celebration to sort of mark the whole we're accepting to live here. But of course, that lasted for a couple of months, and then lo and behold, earlier this month, in fact, like I think just after I made the channel update talking about the future and doing something, they go off on a holiday to the southwestern part of Britain, and they have a very much impromptu trip to fucking Cornwall. And then magically they want to come and start preparing to move again, and now they're actually looking more serious about it. They're changing the lights, they're jigging up the house, and it's like, despite spending thousands of pounds on this one already, and I feel like, obviously, it sounds I'm probably sounding selfish saying this, but it's like, how can you be so selfish? How can you, what is your obsession with that part of the world. Like, you know, they have their reasons that they've told me, but it just feels selfish from my angle, because it just, you know, you're giving up family members, you're giving up other things, and you're just moving and leaving, and like, you know, and it just, and despite sort of talking about, well, like previously saying, oh no, we won't do this until this happens, or that until that happens, but it just, I'm probably going to go into a bit of a rant here, but it boggles the mind, and it's like, surely it's not that bad. Surely living in this part of the world is not great. Yes, there are downsides. There is more people, there is traffic, and, you know, if you're of that of mind, which, you know, if you are of that mind, fuck you, because it basically, there is, you know, there are different diversity and culture here, you know, and I'll be truthful, and this is something that you probably will either instantly go, oh, you're one of those people, but trust me, I'm not all that kind of thing, but I have grown up in this environment, and I like it more. When I went down to Cornwall to visit some friends, I felt really uneasy for on the first day. When I came down and I was driving down, and I was, you know, and I'd seen I'd like driven in through some of the towns down there, I felt really uneasy, and I was like, I don't know why. I felt tense. I felt like I was in, you know, when you walk into an environment and someone's just had an argument. Like, you know, you've heard the shouting in the distance. You've opened the door because you have to, like, pick up something. And you've been hearing shouting all the way until you get to the door, and then it finally stops. And then you open the door, and you can just see the venom in the eyes of the two people who have been shouting and vehemently going crazy at each other. But then they're holding it back because you've entered the room. And you know that as soon as you close that door, they're going to go back at it. But for those few sort of seconds, you're sort of walking from one side of the room to the other to pick up the item that you want. You know. You know. You know. You feel that tension, that sense of unease, that sort of, I really shouldn't be here. That kind of what I was feeling. That was what I was kind of feeling when I was going down there. And I kind of wondered what was going on. And I thought to myself, okay, is it because of the people is it because of, like, the vibe I'm getting from the place? No, it's, you know, Cornwall is, before I go on, I will say Cornwall, you know, in what I say is my opinion of the place, Cornwall is, you know, aesthetically very beautiful. There are some incredible views and scapes and all that. It is a little small. Like, there are parts of the land where you can get up on a sunny day and look at both sides of the county, or like both sides of the land going away. And in the summer, there are, you know, on the days that it's nice, it is beautiful, and there are some really lovely sights to behold when you live there. But for what I say, obviously onwards, there are also downsides to living there. And one of the downsides, depending on your viewpoint, is that there is almost no diversity. At least from when the last time I went down there. It may be different. We may finally start to see some level of diversity there, or multiculturalism, or something like that. Because I thought to myself, oh yeah, it's because nearly everyone's white. And, like, again, it's something that probably makes me sound like a wuss or whatever. No, I respect certain historical things, I respect culture and everything, but it's like, I have grown so accustomed to being in an environment where I hear multiple languages, where I work, I hear multiple languages, where, you know, from where I am, you know, I hear multiple languages, I see different kinds of people, I see people from India, I see people from China, I see people from Japan, I see Americans, you know, Canadians, Italians, French, you know, I like that, I enjoy that, I feel more normal in that. I mean, again, I play online with multiple nations of people, you know, I don't feel comfortable when everyone says the same thing and in the same accent, and has the old like, the best way to describe Cornwall at times is, imagine Britain in the 1980s. You know, it's like we're getting to modern times, where there are certain things that are modern, certain ideals that are modern, but you can tell there is an underlying racist / religious group there. You know, it is the backwater of Britain. Or at least, you know, it's the tourist hotspot. But, you know, if you live there, then there are parts of Cornwall you don't want to go, because it is just that bad. not like, oh my god, it's the worst place ever, but it's, again, there are parts of it's an older society, I think, is the best way to describe it. It's like there are parts, as I said, it's Britain in the 1980s is the best way I found to describe it, because, you know, it's modern most of the time, you're fine, there's no real issue, but there are some places which have that old mountain-minded mentality, that potential racism, and, you know, like, I mean, for example, I said the lack of diversity is, depending on how it is. I mean, I visited about 1, maybe 2 years ago now, so maybe if I'm lucky, it might have changed. But when you go down there and you've lived there for a long time, and please don't take offense when I say this, when you see a black person, you're like, holy shit, it's a black person. Like, you don't see that as much. The diversity is that lacking there, that you say that, or you think that when you see them. And it's like, it's not a problem. It's brilliant. You know, it's a person on holiday or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But it's so lacking in that diversity that you can't help but think it. And when I left that place, I mean, obviously I'd lived there for 7 years, you know, I didn't think too much of it. And when I came to Kent, you know, it was different for me, but I adapted and it was fine. When I went back to visit there, I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't like the fact that everyone had the same droning accent. I didn't like the fact that there was no diversity or multicultural or anything there. You know, it was just one bloody thing. And I don't like it. I really don't like it. It doesn't feel natural to me. I don't feel normal in that kind of environment. So, yeah, slight ramble over. So, basically, I will obviously let you know what will happen. I'm hoping that, I mean, there's 2 things that could happen. One of which, there are 3 things. The good scenario, in which basically nothing happens. We get the talk, things are talking on, people are doing stuff, but then, due to one thing or another, it doesn't look like we can move, or it, takes fucking ages to do so, and by the time that happens, I get out, and, I have a place to live and whatever, and it's, okay, touch wood, that's the better scenario. The absolute best scenario is that nothing happens, we don't move, but we upgrade the house, and we try and make something of it. Again, obviously, that's not the best scenario, because obviously potentially this might happen again, and it doesn't really solve the problem. And then of course comes the bad scenario, in which they actually do get on and move, and we basically have to change stuff up. Again, I will let you know what will happen, but obviously that would mean the streams would be instantly go bye-bye, because obviously not living here means no internet, which obviously means or not good internet, which means obviously doing live streams is instantly nope. I'd lose all aspects of that, which would be depressing as fuck. YouTubing in a whole would potentially be sidelined. It would be something that I may not even be able to continue doing for a time, because obviously I'd be focusing on wanting to get a job and making sure that I was stable in said job before restarting the whole YouTubing thing. I'd have to rejig. I'd have to completely I'd have to completely revamp what I do and what days I uploaded, so that way, to take into account my new life. And and obviously it would mean that certain things I used to do no longer could be done, which is obviously depressing. I want to continue YouTubing. It is part of me. I've been doing it now for nearly 6 bloody years. I don't want to give it up, but I may have to. And that is the bit that I feel the most. And that's one of the reasons why I feel aggrieved, why I feel angered, why I feel upset. Because it feels like, well, we're doing our thing, you can do your thing, and that's it. And it's like, well, thanks, despite the many times you've said we will stay here, and the many times that you've reassured me that, no, you're happy here, you're okay, you're not perfect, but, you can make it work as long as we do this, this, and this. And I'm just like, oh, lovely. So all those times you've said that, you haven't actually meant it. Great. But anyway, so thank you for listening to me ramble, and again, I will let you know what will happen when it happens. But watch this space. To round off things on a light note, I may do a mini campaign for certain games. This is because I kind of want to keep freshness up. So I may have bought Thrones of Britannia. And depending on how things go today, I may even play it a bit. Also, another thing, streaming. That's actually something I should have talked about. In the future, near future, basically, after the sort of beginning of June, the video game Jurassic World Evolution, which is basically a Jurassic Park video game, I am going to be buying, and I am going to be live streaming, because I don't want to, like, doing it on YouTube is fine and all, but there's like a certain amount of limit, whereas if I do it on a live stream, I can play for as long as I want, suck for as long as I need, and actually get to enjoy the game as much as I actually want to enjoy it, rather than having to consign myself to just rendering, uploading and then rendering something. So yeah, there's that for you. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. I do appreciate all of the stuff that you guys have said and uploaded and sent stuff. You know, it's awesome. And thank you to everyone who does tune in on my live streams when you do get them. Again, I probably should find more ways of advertising it, but I don't know which ones, unless Reddit, but then Reddit's an asshole because it keeps deleting my posts. So stupid. But anyway, so yes, I will catch up with you guys another time. Thank you very much for watching. This is Mr. Jaeger, signing out.